Literally everything.
Sheesh, my brother. I got you.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
That is comfortable.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to week number 9 of NECC Rocket League. My name is BassFromThePast, and joined alongside me is the one, the only Novanta. And Novanta, today is the final day of Rocket League for the regular season. How are you feeling, my friend?
Just felt like last week we were starting off the NECC season, but now we're looking at towards the end, and these teams, much like most teams today, are trying to figure out where they're going to be inside the playoff party or looking from the outside in.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be, well, let's call it a spicy match, put it simply. There's a lot riding on the line here, as we have got Johnson and Wales versus Mount St. Mary's. These two teams are 4th and 5th in the East Emergence Division. That means there's a lot going on here. Fourth place here, Mount St. Mary's are currently 19-10 or 5-3 overall. Their game differential is about 9. JWU, they're at 5-3 as well, but the game differential is 7 at 19-12. Whoever takes this will take that fourth spot for sure. No matter what, they're taking that fourth. But there's a little bit riding on this, so even more for Mount St. Mary's. They are only 2 games in terms of differential behind their opponents at 6-1 in Hood College. If they are able to sweep this, there's a chance they can overtake that spot. This is a very, very, very spicy match, Novanta, and I cannot wait for this one to start up. What are you feeling going into a match like this? How do you prepare yourself if you know there's this much on the line?
You might put a little bit extra pressure on yourself and think about sweeps, but I gotta say, more importantly than ever, you have to get one game after the other. Very, very little separates these two squads here today, but Mount St. Mary's has an extra opportunity, some stank on it, if you will, to go on there in a favorable position. And even though you want to push it, I gotta say, just focus on the fundamentals, treat this week like the first one or the second one, and maybe, just maybe, your sweep might come to you like a dog you let go, you know what I'm saying?
Hopefully it will arrive for them. Well, honestly, I'd like to see it go either way at this point. I'm going to stay as unbiased as I can, but, there's always a little bit of me behind the scenes, the audience, the fan of this sort of stuff that just wants to see the most action, the most upsets, the most everything that we can deliver. And we can promise you we can deliver that here at the NECC. This final day of Rocket League is going to have tons of explosive matches with a lot of playoff potential for most of the teams that we will be seeing. As we said, both of these teams are 4th and 5th seed. The winner of this takes the 4th seed. The loser of this basically cements himself in as 5th seed, and they're both going to make playoffs. Either team is going to be able to compete this one out, and matter of fact, they're going to meet each other in the quarterfinals. So no matter what, even if they lose here today, they're still going to have another shot to prove what they've got come playoffs.
It's going to be a dress rehearsal of the highest order because pecking orders do matter in playoff situations. I think both teams are getting ready right now. Utopia Coliseum will be ready in just momentarily. But I got to say this, Bass, what I do think now more than ever, you're going to see a lot of these teams get into their form quicker than before. We always say there's always a game. That sometimes some teams take the time to figure each other out. It might not even be a game. It might even be half a game. I'm thinking 90 seconds. Once the bell rings, we're going to have ourselves a bit of a battle, a bit of a slugfest.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be full guns blazing from the minute that we see this one happen. And I really do think that the first team to take the first game is truly going to be I'd say the victor here. In games like this with this much pressure, it's really hard to try and flip momentum midway through a series. So if you don't come out with a very strong start, it's definitely going to be difficult. 100% agreed, Novanta. If you are the team that loses his first game, though, how do you rebound after that? What is the goal? How do you try and bring yourself back into a series like this?
Well, that would depend on the team that has that loss, right? If you are looking at JWU, again, I'm not saying you're playing with house money necessarily, but they do have a little bit more of a less pressure on them just to make their way through the series. And so if they're on the losing end of the first game, it takes very little to just adjust, keep your head down, use the space to your advantage. But like you said, St. Mary's has a little bit more incentive to have 3 straight victories. And I can imagine dropping one could really get into your head, and that might become a self-fulfilling prophecy or even a losing series if you come out in front and drop a loss. So hard to say here, but I gotta say more than everything else, it comes down to which squad is able to fortify their own plan and strategy, not get shaken up by their opponent, and use that plan to fruition.
Absolutely. And there, like we said, there's a little bit more than just this series riding on the line for something like this. When you are able to make those adjustments and really start to feel out of your opponents here, you're doing it also for the next time that you're going to see them. There's a guarantee that these guys are going to see each other in the playoffs. So realistically, they're trying to play this one and figure out these 5 games, not only for this series, they're trying to figure it out for the next series. They're definitely going to be taking notes here today, looking back over all of this footage and making sure that they know that this one is going to be something they can win or at least keep competitive. I gotta imagine loser of this one today is going to be going over this footage, going over this VOD like absolutely crazy.
It is kind of interesting because no matter what happens today, they will be meeting a week later in the playoffs. And so it kind of comes down to, do you try to even double down the tactics that worked and try to show up the things that didn't work, or you throw something completely out the window to surprise your opponent weekend? Probably getting ahead of myself. But I just want to say that today, now more than ever, we're looking at a faster paced game, a little bit using both sides of the pitch, because I know these two teams love to use the midfield to their advantage, but might have to go a little beyond that, have a bit more of a narrower shape, a bit about elongated shape to get goals in their side for production's sake. And so it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a war. And I, for one, can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're just trying to figure out now if all the players are ready, making sure that they are all set so that we can get this first game underway. But in the meantime, I'm going to let you guys know. Oh, wait, we're getting a word from our producer. Give us just 1 second. Okay, so we're getting a little bit of information relayed over to us. It seems like there might have been a false start at some point, and the teams have maybe played out part of the series without knowing that they were going to be playing out part of the series. So we're trying to figure that out. Make sure that the teams are very comfortable with whatever agreement we come to here, making sure that that is all set up. In the meantime, I'm going to let you guys know how you're able to keep up with everything that the NECC is doing right now. Make sure that you guys follow down below on the Twitch channel, as well as check us out on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of the platforms that we are on. The next coming weeks, we're going to have constant action for esports here. No matter what game it is, no matter what division it is, there will be games going on here at the NECC because playoffs are going to be stacked. Please, please, please make sure that you are following us on all of our socials and keep up to date with what we are doing, because I can guarantee you, you do not want to miss out on a second of this esports action, because it's going to be a banger every single time. I can always guarantee that there is a great action here at the NECC. And Novanta, while we have the time, let's take a second. This was your first season at the NECC. This was one of the first ones that, for a lot of casters, as your first time. How did you feel going into the season?
Yeah, I didn't really know what to expect here. You're talking about college cardball, or maybe even literally college cardball, about what that means for different squads. And even though the NECC is pretty much an open organization for different levels across different parts of the country, what we did see is highly competitive action, a bit more aggressive than what we're doing, showing the meta is evolving even at the collegiate level. It was fantastic, and it was an honor and privilege, Bass.
Yeah, it was an absolute blast to have you here for this first season, but we are not done yet. It is time, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to hit the field. 5 minutes on the clock. Game number 1 underway. Both of the teams have come to an agreement that they're just going to restart the series, and well, the agreement so far is not going in favor of JWU, but I do want to say respect to both of the students on both halves. It's really an honorable thing to, start off a series like this when, one team might have a little bit more momentum.
A lot of times it's bigger than the sport you play. It's bigger than Cardball, bigger than Rocket League, but it doesn't matter. St. Mary's gets on the scoreboard early with 7 seconds elapsed, 1-0.
1-0 already. You can see Mount St. Mary's are trying to take that spot. They really would love that sweep to give themselves a shot at overtaking the third position. Again, it's not going to be a guarantee that they overtake the other position, because the other team that is in third right now does still need to play a game. They don't have the exact same record right now, so they're going to have to try and catch up. But if that team does also take a sweep, does not take any more games, there is a chance that they can overtake them. But for right now, they got to focus on game number 1 alone. So far, about 40 seconds into it, they have been able to hold on to this 1-0 lead. And, just might be able to get a second. Snuffle's going to pop this one, but Cole is going to get a little bit of a touch and stop the offense for at least a second. Good adjustments so far to JWU, and they might just be able to find a counterattack to boot.
It's one of those things that's kind of out of your hands in sport and even esport, the playoff implications of what that means for any kind of squad. And yeah, you can be at the behest of eliminations or records and all that, but when it comes down to the game, you can only do what you're in control of, and making sure you're aggressive, you have a clean run of play to put some goals to your tally. And right now, I'm looking at Mount St. Mary's. They have a bit more control, a bit more possession, and the lead to boot. So props to them.
Yeah, they're definitely in control of the pace right now, and as they go out to midfield here, they're just going to restart the offense once again, trying to play possession, but unfortunately a pinch is not going to go in their favor. Here comes a chance. JWU going to try and sneak one in here, but Admac going to make a phenomenal save in the center. Going to at least starve off the offense for a second more. About 1:30 gone so far here. It's been a bit of a back and forth, but unfortunately that first goal is the separating factor. Mount St. Mary's are going to be ecstatic that they've been able to sneak one in before both teams were at full strength. Meanwhile, though, JWU, they've been playing from their back heel the whole time. They're just trying to catch on up. Good offense here. This one's off the backboard. Is anyone going to be there? No. Ant Cola just gets to it a bit too late. Wi-Fi, unfortunately, is going to have to try and just hold this one off. No shot will arrive as Snuffles misses the ball in front of the net. Again, just a back-and-forth play so far here. Not really favoring either team, to be honest.
No, not favoring another team, but again, I still have to give the edge to Mount St. Mary's. Besides the scoreline, the edge has been that much more lethal of taking away the boost strategy from JWU. They are taking every hundo at their disposal, probably just wasting if they want to there, to cut off the air supply of their opponents right now.
Yeah, absolutely. They're really suffocating as it stands here. And, speaking of which, good demo out of midfield is going to give some space to Admac. Can't quite get the dribble off, but luckily enough, it's not going to go right back into their net. Sweet little pop into the corner here. This could be a great pass, but no, it's interrupted by Snuffles. That one going to go a little bit off the pace, or off the mark, excuse me. And unfortunately, they're going to have to retry that offense once again. But I do like this. We're getting more aggression out of JWU as the series continues, and I really do think they're making the necessary adjustments.
Yeah, that ball didn't go in there, but they found a way to make the king bleed right there. It was a kind of an unorthodox play up front, but they beat both defenders and had an opportunity for them. So I do think they have that tool in their arsenal. It comes down to when they want to make that strike.
And there's absolutely a chance for them to hit that strike sometime soon here as it's more offensive pressure, but the defense is holding strong so far, able to clear it out to the side on multiple different chances. But they haven't been able to clear it out of their half quite yet and will not be able to do so here. Snuffles, though, want to make me eat my words. Not sure why I'm putting an SH on that one. Now I'm realizing no SH in the name, but hey, you know what? It's Rocket League. You never know what the names are going to be. Every name is always unique, and gotta say, we'll always say it. Rocket League does have some of my favorite names in all of esports.
I don't know, man. I thought you knew him personally the way you were being all affectionate with it. But over a minute left, and one goal still separates these two squads. Got to get the edge to St. Mary's.
The edge is there, but it's not that sharp of an edge right now, just barely an edge. If they can get another goal in here, they might have a little bit of a safety net, though, and a little bit of relief off their shoulders. But so far, it has been very, very constant pressure here out of JWU. Johnson and Wales want one more goal. They want to just take this one to overtime. And again, another attack develops here. Parcels is going to take this one straight to the center, or at least attempt to. Instead, it's going to be cleared all the way out. Mount St. Mary's are just wasting valuable time that JWU cannot afford. They need to get a good offense together, and they need to do it quick.
Well, remember we were saying before the game even started that first game is usually when teams suss each other out, and I said that's not going to be the case. We're going to see both teams really hit as hard as they can, and well, after the first 7 seconds of having a team's arms down, it's been pretty much level as far as shots being swatted away and blocked away. So a 1-0 scoreline is pretty much accurate given the effort we're seeing right now on the pitch.
Yeah, both of these teams are pretty even as it stands. There's not much going in either favor, and like we said, unfortunately for JWU, that's not really going to benefit them. A even scoreline here is only going to work if it didn't have a goal to start off with. And, well, Mount St. Mary's are going to hold on here. Game number 1 in a nail-biting fashion. Just barely they were able to hold on. Unfortunately for JWU, they're going to have to retry this one in game number 2. They looked great throughout that game. They really were able to keep the scoreline about even. But again, that early goal, the one separating factor between the two teams.
And that sweep idea is still on the table for St. Mary's. There's 2 more they need to make that prophecy fulfilled. But JWU, you're right, the past. They weren't necessarily playing wrong. I mean, they had a little bit of possession they gave up to their opponents. They didn't shoot as many balls on goal. But again, a 1-0 scoreline is nothing to be ashamed about, especially with how many balls were actually on frame. So all you gotta do now is give yourself the shooting boost. Give yourself an opportunity to be loosey-goosey up top in the top third of the pitch. So you may have some goals to your tally.
Yeah, absolutely. They need to play, I would say, a little bit more creatively. Something a little bit different when it comes to their offense. Like, they need to play with just something that's going to wow us here in the booth. As a matter of fact, wow the players on the field. We saw a couple attempts at dribble plays. I like those solo plays, baiting out the defenders, especially at this rank. There's a really good chance that if you can get one double commit from the other team where they start getting nervous because you've got a good offense, all of a sudden you break their defense and there's a way for you to slot a goal in. So I do think that there's a lot of things to improve upon here for JWU, but they're playing very well. Johnson and Wales are very close to being able to even out this series. And again, Mount St. Mary's, they really don't want that to happen. They'd like the best shot possible to try and take that 3rd seed. So they're going to try and keep the sweep alive here. Good kickoff. Might actually even give them the first goal, but no Wi-Fi with a clutch save to start off. No repeat of game number 1. They do not want to go down early.
Yeah, no one wants to repeat a game 1. I mean, that one there was a defensive classic. You see, when you're a team, you know, as creative as your opponent, like you were saying, JWU was solid, but they're kind of missing a little bit of imagination in the mid-pitch. That's when you ask for pace. When you pick up your pace, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be as creative as that, but maybe that could be installed after this goal here by Admac.
Well, another early lead here from Mount St. Mary's, and it's a phenomenal dribble to do so. Wi-Fi just kind of stood there flat-footed, not sure what to do, but hey, can you really blame them when you have a goal like that going overhead? 30 seconds or so into this game. And again, Mount St. Mary's with an early lead that could be the separating factor. Oh, but here comes the comeback. All of a sudden, Ant's going to slam this one home from a brilliant pass from Wi-Fi. We're evened up all over again.
Important that the lead gets evaporated for JWU, but also important because it's the first goal they scored all series. Can they find a way to make that happen again to make this series more competitive?
Already, we've got a high-flying action game number 2. Both teams striking immediately. Matter of fact, Mount St. Mary's want another one. Wi-Fi going to clear this one out to the side, but it could leave way for another Mount St. Mary's offense. Good demo from AdMac. He's going to at least delay the counterattack here. Parasols, though, out to the center. Ant tries to stuff one home, but instead it's a good block by Dre and an even better shot by Snuffles. 2-1, Mount St. Mary's regain the lead.
Well, I gotta say one thing. When you are looking at having a lead disappear and you come somehow ask for the reinforcements to come through, you know your team's in sync. 2-1, Marys.
Yeah, they're starting to look really good on the pitch just overall. They're starting to really find that flow that they needed. Then, well, I might have spoke a little bit too soon, as here we go, another counter kickoff. Once again, this is, I guess, how they're going to keep themselves in the series. JWU with 2 kickoff goals in a row now.
Well, look at this. This one here was a shot off frame, unfortunately, but another rebound goal. So what's the question? Is the kickoffs need to be shut up in defense or allowing your opponent 2 shots at an empty net? Either way, it's bad news. They were back tied once more.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of shakiness off the kickoffs here. And once again, it's another kickoff going in favor of JWU. That time, they weren't quite able to get the shot on target. Similarly, though, neither is Mount St. Mary's, as they had a player cherry picking, but weren't able to get it on frame. But here comes that offense once again. But yeah, there's a little bit of disorganization on defense. I'd say the first game was about them getting their offense together. Now that the offense together, the defense has got to stand up. Mount St. Mary's with a 3-2 lead.
Wi-Fi did what he could, or did what they could to clear that, but it wasn't quite clear far enough, not enough juice, not enough power, and then, again, a rebound goal, this time the other direction, favoring Mount St. Mary's. They get one past them, 3-2.
Yeah, I really do think that there's a little bit more to be done on defense right now. They're looking very shaky. The double commits we were talking about earlier, forcing players into those double commits, has kind of come back in the butt. This is something that we were worried about throughout the entirety of this game, was that, baiting in a player and then getting those offensive opportunities. Now both teams are doing it, and unfortunately, as both teams are doing it, we're starting to see the defense break on both sides, so there's a little bit of difference that needs to be made here, Novanta. How are you supposed to try and, tighten up a defense like this in a scenario like this?
So to do that, you have to take a step back and see what's actually happening here. And Zubbles gets another one here, 4-2. I was going to say, look at the shot from here. Taking that ball that was loose, scooping it up with the pass, and burying it. So what I was going to say was, usually what happens is when you have a situation where you score and then your opponent scores rapidly, there is a bit of a human nature to pick up the pace and be a little fast and be a little aggressive. Say, all right, guys, let's get back on it. But when you do that, you tend to lose your defensive shape. So it takes a little bit to speed up your pace and shore up your defense at the same time. And that's the difference between teams that are good in the bottom, the top of the charts, and ones that are on the bottom of the charts. So 4-2 for St. Mary's. Can they make it 3? Only time will tell, but I think they're starting to put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, they're really starting to find their pace. They're starting to find their ability to control the pace of the field as well. Just really good stuff all around. Unfortunately, we need to see a slowdown out of them if JWU want any shot of trying to make a comeback here. About half the game left, so they do have plenty of time, but as they are backed into their half once again, Mount St. Mary's look poised to try and put in a 5th. Add back to the backboard. This one's going to drop down. Is anyone there? No. Snuffles a little bit too far back. And as a result, he goes for a very awkward challenge. Good shot from Parasols, and that one's going to find its way into the back of the net. The little dink off the... I don't think it's a backboard. I think it's off of the right post, and it'll just find its way in.
Question for you, Bass. Is it awkward if it goes in? Why not? Maybe they're within 1 now at halftime.
Yeah, it's a fair point. Honestly, if it gets into the back of the net, it gets into the back of the net, and at that point, that's what they're looking for. They're definitely not looking for this, though. Immediate response off a kickoff, and all of a sudden, Mount St. Mary's are back with a 2-goal lead.
Dang, they forgot about Dre going up, being unchallenged, and bringing it down. What not? 5-3.
Yeah, can't forget about Dre. Never can, never will. 5-3 here, about half the game left, and indeed, this really has been a slugfest like we expected. The game started off hot, it's continued to go hot, and I really don't know what the final scoreline is going to be at this point. I do think, though, the victor still looking like it's going to be Mount St. Mary's. They just seem to have a response to literally everything that JWU is doing on the pitch right now.
Right, that's what we're saying. Like, when we have that turned up pace, it comes down to showing up for defense. We've seen St. Mary's do that a little bit more efficient than JWU. Doesn't mean they're out of the woods yet. This full 2-minute period here for the 2-goal lead, eyeing a 3rd goal here. It looks like they're in control.
Yeah, they really do look in control, and indeed, they will find that 3-goal lead again. You called it. It's, I don't know if that's really caster curse or the caster blessing, whatever it may be. It's going to be a 6th goal now for Mount St. Mary's with 1:51 remaining. They're starting to get this a bit out of hand.
a little bit out of hand, maybe a lot of it for JWU. There's a slippery slope there on allowing those 2 goals. Relatively simple with a couple of redirects here. This could be the beginning of the floodgates opening if things do not change.
Ooh, if they can get a goal right now, though, with a styling fashion as they go up into the air, that really would have been a great momentum shift. But that's sort of harping back to something that you and I had spoke about in the break as well. The creativity out of JWU, it's still not really there. We've seen some pretty interesting goals, some aerial goals out of Mount St. Mary's, but when it comes to the goals out of JWU, they're pretty standard right now. I feel like they've got to try and get a little bit more creative with their offense. Oh, that would have been a pretty standard goal, and they would have taken it, but unfortunately, it does not find the back of the net as Dre picks up another save here. 6-3, and it's starting to look like there's even less and less time for everybody off of JWU to try and make a comeback. But again, creativity still a little bit lacking.
Well, it's like almost like you said, when you say the word creativity, what does that actually mean? And it's like, well, go back to the drawing board. Those 2 of the 3 goals you score were rebound goals, which means you evolved a second shooting option. That tiki-taka offense, actually, Mount St. Mary's does not have an answer for. It's kind of curious at the fact that JWU abandoned that strategy, because if it works, why not go with it? But you're right, you can't go straight that bore down at the goal and hopefully it goes in, because the team will see that and swat that away every single time.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a shaky defense to start off for Mount St. Mary's, but as time has gone on, they've got better and better. A little bit of a caster curse there as they did double commit, but the thing is, they're not getting punished. Again, you talk about that second man rotation, the person who dives after the first one goes in. We're just not seeing that right now for JWU, and unfortunately, it's alleviating a lot of pressure and allowing counterattacks like this to, well, they go off within a moment. 2 players out of midfield, third man dives, AdMax got an open net. 20 seconds left, and I think we can call it game number 2 going in favor of Mount St. Mary's now, and they're looking at a sweep Novanta. There's a chance they could possibly upset the 3rd seed.
Well, there's a chance and a half. You see that last goal? That was a dagger, but it was eased into the flesh there of JWU. You can't let people score with all that time with no one, a fender, a wheel in traffic. That is going to be a critical problem they got to figure out now in game 3.
Yeah, that's something we've talked about many times here at the NECC, and I'll continue to talk about it because it's something so prevalent at every level of Rocket League, is that nuisance play, that annoying play where you just get in the way of your opponents and don't allow them to, control the flow of the game. They can't control the pace, and when they can't do that, they get uncomfortable. So Mount St. Mary's right now look incredibly comfortable. They're able to control the pace of the field. They're able to control really everything that they do on this pitch. JWU need to get in the way of that. Johnson and Wales need to put, like you said, a wheel in, a body in, something to get in the way of Mount St. Mary's, because they have, I think, 2 to 3 times the shots right now. 3 times the shot, if I'm correct, at 12 total shots versus 5. So no, about 2.5 times the shots. It's ridiculous how much Mount St. Mary's are really in control of the series.
I think Mount St. Mary's understands what it means to sweep their opponents. They're putting a little bit extra gusto on their rotations, which, to their credit or maybe discredit, isn't the cleanest way of doing so. They're very beatable. We're not trying to say that Mount St. Mary's are coming here and are totally washing over JWU, but whatever that Mount St. Mary's is doing, there has not been a counterattack, but save for a couple kickoff goals or a couple rebound goals, which really shows that they don't really have a scoring engine on their own. That has to change right now. Look, you may lose the series at this point, but you know what a sweep does to your morale and their positioning at Mount St. Mary's. You have to do whatever you can now to at least force a game 4.
Yeah, they really want to do that for a number of reasons. As we said, not only are they trying to not allow them to upset that 3rd seed, but they also probably want a shot at these guys again. If they let them get this game, there's a chance they don't see them again in playoffs, and ooh, I don't think they're going to want that. They're going to want their revenge, and they might just be able to secure at least a chance at that if they can get this game number 3. Game number 3 underway. It's a chance for them to try and keep their dreams alive and stop the sweep. Oh, but a pass like that is not going to be great. AdMac is up but misses it. Mount St. Mary's with a chance to put the dagger in early, but not quite able to do so, and it's back into their half already.
Well, that was the script the first 2 games, that early goal there for Mount St. Mary's, and that one wasn't the most easiest one to hit, but it looked like it was definitely achievable, and they may rue the day of that actual exchange.
Unfortunately so, because here comes JWU. They're going to, try and start an offense, but the miss out of midfield is going to give a chance. Wi-Fi with a phenomenal save, but Purcell's can't make the follow-up. AdMac shot will find the back of the net, and same as usual, Mount St. Mary's with an early lead.
Well, credit to JWU for taking that advice from BassFromThePast and being as annoying as they possibly could, but they were on the other end of a firing squad in that exchange, and with less than a minute elapsed, 1-0 Mount St. Mary's.
I do like it, though. They are getting in the way. They're definitely not allowing everybody off of Mount St. Mary's to control the pace as much. Oh, but you do have to be careful. You can't double commit like that. that is going to probably leave you, well, let's call it uncomfortable every time. Personals and Wi-Fi both go for this. Their third man is back trying to just pick up boost, and, well, Ant can't get there in time. 2-0. Mount St. Mary's still kind of taking advantage of this. I feel like there's a middle ground we're not quite seeing between being aggressive and being annoying and also still playing a good defense.
That last exchange had so many questions. How? Why? When? Look at the clock. With less than a minute elapsed, 3 goals. A tray has been put on JWU. Their backs against the wall. It's past the wall. They're on outside of the wall. They have to come up with something now and quick.
They really have to try and get something done very quickly here with only about a minute remaining. If there are any more goals that go in favor of Mount St. Mary's, which there are, it's going to be pretty difficult to make a comeback. They now need to basically score 4 goals within a minute, because if the trend continues here, this is going to be about 20 goals in favor of Mount St. Mary's.
Well, you know what they say about the mentality and morale of Rocket League and how if you're on the bad end, you get to slump your shoulders a bit? Well, that score by Adamak was the absolute opposite. Pure wedding in the sky, Cirque du Soleil style, and they have 4 goals with only a minute gone. Wow.
This is starting to look a bit out of hand. Oh, there we go. There's the response we were looking for. JWU will slot in 1. They will make a halt to the absolute onslaught of shots they've just received, as it's a good pass off the backboard. But again, this is the only way they've been able to score so far, Novanta. I still feel like there's a little bit of creativity that we're lacking.
Well, look at the way that actual goal scoring phase broke down. It was off the wall, demo on the opponent, and off the backboard pass. That's something we haven't seen in the first 2 games. More of that, please.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to see more chances like that. As it stands right now, there have not been all that many chances. There have been a couple. Ooh, a good fake out at midfield will give a little bit of space. Ant should be there, but no, dives in a little bit late, and Admac will get it away. Shot on target, but Personals is there. Not the greatest clear. A little bit of awkward play on the back end here, and I feel like this is part of where the issues are starting to stem from. JWU are playing a decent back half, but it's not as solid as it really needs to be against an offense like this.
They're there technically, but it's the power in their clears that's been their Achilles heel all series. And while a lot of these scooped up rebound plays on the side of St. Mary's happens when clears are not as strong as they need to be, a very minor issue compared to the bigger ones of creativity and position we've seen before. So we don't talk about it as much, but it's definitely something that JWU has to look at: win, lose, or draw in this series.
Absolutely. They need to try and give them, oh my word, give themselves any sort of momentum there. I thought we might have just saw an own goal going in favor, but I really do think even if Mount St. Mary's do take this game, we're going to see quite the battle in playoffs as these 2 teams meet again. If they take the sweep here, there is a chance that they do not see each other, as we said, because they may advance to the 3rd seed, but it's not a guarantee. So if they do end up seeing each other again, I'm going to be excited for this next matchup. I have a feeling JWU have a lot of notes they're taking down from this entire game and are really going to come back with some firepower the next time these 2 teams meet.
Oh, absolutely. This has been an absolutely embarrassing display for JWU, and I can tell you, if there's an opportunity to have another go at it, they would, and try a different plan, because what's happening right now is they're seeing their entire world collapse as far as their offensive structure and form, and I know they're a better squad than this.
Absolutely. They kept the first game so incredibly close. Unfortunately, while Mount St. Mary's starting to make the necessary adjustments, Johnson and Wales didn't really make those adjustments as time went on. I think that they'll be able to take the adjustments or take the notes from this game and make adjustments, but you can't really always do that after series. Sometimes you have to do it mid-series, and today it really does seem like Mount St. Mary's were the team to make those necessary adjustments as the series continued. And, well, with about a minute 30 remaining and a 3-goal lead, there is still technically a chance for Johnson and Wales. Oh, and they might just get a goal. They have a chance even greater now. Minute 30 for 2 goals. This is doable, Novanta.
That was like a knuckleball goal. I didn't think it was that slow. 47 miles per hour. It felt like it was half that speed. It rolls in the bottom 90. Yeah, you're right. Past 90 seconds to get 2 goals. Definitely doable.
It's 100% doable. Minute 30 remains here. If they can get a good kickoff, which we have seen before, they might just be able to run with it. Ursels, though, not going to make this touch on the necessary on the side there. And all of a sudden, here comes another chance for Mount St. Mary's. And additionally, they don't even need to score another goal here. All they need to do is waste time. The 2-goal comeback is not going to be that easy. The first thing they need to do is score a first goal, which, again, if they're just wasting time, they're just making it more and more difficult. Here comes JWU, though. They do have a chance on offense. Wi-Fi with a good 50-50 is going to give some more offensive pressure. Purcell's, though, not going to be able to make that great of a touch to the center. Now here comes Mount St. Mary's. Again, they are just wasting time. Look how quickly they are going up for everything. But that might come back to bite them. AdMac will make a good clear, but they're just getting in the way of everything right now, Novanta.
It looks like Mount St. Mary's is parking the bus. I don't necessarily knock it, but they leave themselves a chance to get scored upon with the counterattack. But look, with 4.5 seconds to go, I think Mount St. Mary's is pretty much feeling themselves in a confident position to walk away with the sweep here today.
But it might be a bit too confident as Ant is going to make a dunk on the line. This is what you were saying. They're playing a little bit too defensively. Now they're just allowing shots at a JWU. And, well, you can't really allow too many shots. Eventually one will find the back of the net. 1 goal difference with 36 seconds to go. Novanta, do you believe in miracles?
I do believe in miracles and also believe in hubris because there's no way that ball should have went past the goal line, but it did. Now you got JWU with a little bit more spice to their step. 30 seconds to score. Goal has been done. Just push it to overtime and get the win in OT. That's all you need to do.
Got a chance here. Good stop by Snuffles, though, is going to waste more valuable time, as well as AdMac going for an aggressive 50-50. 15 seconds left. They need to break out of their half. As it stands right now, Mount St. Mary's are sending everything they've got at them to just keep this one awkward, but here comes a chance. Can they build something? No. Again, another player rushing at midfield, and that might be the dagger, as all of a sudden it's an awkward play to even get out of the half. Ursula is going to pump this one to the side. Dre's going to spike this into the ceiling, and Wi-Fi cannot catch it. Mount St. Mary's will secure the sweep. JWU, they got close to being able to bring that one back.
Well, like you said, the biggest and baddest dagger of them all is time, and this just wasn't enough time for JWU. There were flashes of brilliance on the pitch here today, but it was all for naught. Complete performances ruled the day, and that was Mount St. Mary's in spades. GG's all that involved, but Mount St. Mary's was a stronger team.
Yeah, just a little bit stronger here today. And again, there were necessary adjustments that were starting to be made by JWU, but I feel like a lot of what really did happen was they kind of just broke down at the end there. We started to see Mount St. Mary's switch up their strategy a little bit from a little bit more of a full pitch offense and defense to a mostly offense, and all of a sudden JWU started seeing the gaps in that. So Mount St. Mary's do need to probably make a couple adjustments going into playoffs here, but they've now got a chance that they're never even going to see JWU again here. They might not see them in playoffs because they did take a sweep and have a shot at now taking that 3rd seed. They technically have a better game differential, but once again, these guys still need to play. There's still another game that needs to be played by, I believe it is Hood College, who is just above them. Yes, indeed, it is Hood College. So Hood College in 3rd place still need to play another game. So we're going to have to find out, Novanta. I will say this much. This game was exactly what we hoped for. Even though it didn't necessarily go the distance, this was the type of action we were expecting out of the 4th and 5th seeds.
And I know 9 weeks ago when we were on stream, Bass, and we were telling out to the masses, hey, every game counts. They were saying, whatever, Caster, man, but look at this. With a sweep, there's a whole plethora of options for Mount St. Mary's, and well earned and well deserved.
Absolutely, very well deserved. They played phenomenally throughout that entire series, and well, I gotta imagine there's a lot of confidence going into the rest of these games. Mount St. Mary's, if they do manage to take that 3rd seed, they're going to be hunting for whoever ends up going up against them. And I gotta say, the playoffs are going to be spicier and spicier as time goes on. I really have no idea who on earth we're going to have take each one of these divisions, and well, we're really going to have to find out. So far, this has been a tense back and forth, Novanta, but we have got so many games here today, so many high-flying games that I just cannot wait to get to the rest of the action.
You can't wait? What about me, man? I can't wait.
I hope that you can't wait either. I hope that you guys in the audience can wait, though, as, again, we're going to try and, well, we're going to take a little bit of a break here, come back, get all of our games set up, because we promise you we have got tons of more Rocket League action here today. So do not go anywhere. We're going to see a couple quick words from all of the people who make this happen. And when we return, we will have game number 2 of the day, which is, let me make sure on this one, Springfield versus Hood Community College. Oh, speaking of which, we're going to see Hood, but at a bit of a higher tier. So we're going to see. But when we return, we will be back with our next game. Do not go anywhere. We'll see you very soon.
Hey man, I just can't find a comfortable headset. I mean, I've tried everything. Literally everything.
Jeez, my brother. I got you.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
That is comfortable.